Hello and welcome to this Jane's Weather Update. It is Friday the 16th of May and this is the outlook for rain over the next week. You can see the legend up through here. Anything over yellow is 25 to 50, orange getting up to 100, in the deep reds nearly 200 millimetres. So there's some big falls due in that part of the world there. It's all on the east coast. It's just wrapping around into Gippsland. There is a little bit coming to these drought-ravaged areas from Adelaide through to Tasmania, so let's unpack that day by day. Over in the southwest, there is something that's later in the period, and we've got all of this that is spreading inland here too. So let's have a look at day by day. Here is the end of Friday. You can see it on the bottom there and also up in that top left. What I've got on here is pressure, and I've also got thickness or snow level, or how hot or cold the air is. Now I'm going to get these so that they're dashed so you can see it better, but for now, just work with me. This is still a work in progress. What you're looking for is either this heat, these red lines to be coming down to indicate hot air is surging down into the south, or these colder blue lines to be surging up, indicating that cold air is in behind that. So that gives you an idea of how much hot or cold air is coming into it, but also how much energy the system has too. All right, the pressure lines, that's these thin ones here. So it's 1032, 1028, 1024. There's a big ridge of high pressure that is stretching across the southern parts of the country. That is the thing that is stopping the rain. As long as we have that high pressure ridge there, then we are going to get less rain than what you would normally see as a weather system comes through. Now, that's certainly not a problem for the east coast. The high pressure ridge isn't anywhere near it, so they can have those big systems come through. Here's the end of Friday, some cold air here sitting over the bight. We've got the kinks in the isobars there, indicating a cold front is coming through. So this is a surge of energy that is coming up from the south. We've got all of this rain that's happening still in through Queensland, not just on the coast, but inland as well. And we've got all of this that's happening for New South Wales, mainly on the coast. There is Friday. Let's move into Saturday. Here's the next high pressure system sitting over the bight. Here is that surge of cold air that is coming up into the southeast. But the rainfall, it only hits here along the coastline. It's 5, maybe 10 millimetres at best as this one comes through. Why? The high pressure is here. The pressure is too strong. You can't get big rainfalls if that pressure level is too high. But we've got cold air that's coming up, 600 metres snow there, 1,200 metres in Victoria, about 1,500 metres when it reaches New South Wales on Sunday. Meanwhile, this is still happening for southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales. So that's our situation on Saturday. Cold, cold, cold in the southeast. That cold air continues to move through as we go through Sunday, but look, the rainfall, it's really not there in behind it. Hardly anything for Tasmania by the time we get into Sunday too. Instead, look at that colour, that blue that is coming up there. That is cold air that is making it right up to southern Queensland. Now with that, we're going to get frost in behind it thanks to high pressure that again sitting there, but also all that energy in that upper level. It's kind of like the strings of a puppet. And what we're going to see on the surface here is a big, deep dive in that pressure. So here we are as we move through Sunday. Here we are on Monday. We're starting to see that kinks in the isobars there, all of that moisture from the Pacific Ocean, the Tasman Sea, pushing into the coast, and that results in some big rainfalls for there. I'll focus on that just for a moment. So here is Monday and Tuesday. There we go, lots of big falls there, mainly for the northern part of New South Wales, that eastern coastline part there just into the ranges. So that's that one that is coming through and going to produce some big falls. I'll just go back in time here. Let's watch the next weather system that's coming in. So here's Monday. We're now back to frosty nights, sunny days, high pressure sitting over the southeast. This one doesn't really hit the southwest. Again, high pressure is in the way. You'll hear me say that a lot. Monday, 10 p.m. Tuesday, 10 p.m. This has got a little bit of cold air coming with it, not like the big surge from the last one. High pressure is directly in behind. That rainfall's happening in New South Wales. Moving into Wednesday, that's when the next weather system moves across the southeast of the country. Again, high pressure. It is in the way, so it limits what rainfall totals we can get. But it's something that is coming through. Meanwhile, that eastern coastline there still has that kinks in the isobars indicating instability, lower pressure, and so it is able to see the rain. Let's see what this surge of energy is going to do to that one as well. So here we have Wednesday into Thursday. Maybe the eastern parts of Victoria might get this one as it comes through because it's sitting a little bit lower when it taps into all of that gorgeous moisture from the Tasman Sea there. Here we go into Thursday and into Friday, still going. Next system building in the southwest. This one has a different trajectory. High pressure has broken, so it's allowing that to come up and hit the southwest, but that's a full week away. So there's a lot of hot and dry to get through before we get to that particular point. And then going into Saturday, that may have its sights set on the southeast as well, coming in on Sunday. So that's the pattern over the next week where we are now. Here is our cold front that's coming up. I just really want to point out that high pressure ridge. It extends right across here. Look how huge it is. It's from west of Perth right over to the other side of New Zealand. It's sitting right across the southern part of Australia, the mainland anyway, and Tasmania too. So it means that when these systems come up, they run out of energy. They just can't cut through that high. It is in the way. It's what we were expecting for May, for these not to be able to push through. And so we get limited rain when they do actually come in. All right, sea surface temperature anomaly. Let's look further afield. This box here is getting more and more blue by the day. However, getting more and more yellow by the day. It used to be blue. So now it is sitting in a very neutral thing here. However, we still have these warm yellows off the coast of Queensland. So no matter what the Pacific Ocean is doing, if it's La Nina or if it's El Nino, we have our own source of moisture to fill that gap. If it pushes rain towards us, we get extra moisture because we've got our own source. If it pushes the rain away from us, we're offsetting the dryness of that because we've got our own source of moisture. So as long as it remains warm off the coast of Queensland, we have that tick of that box in terms of moisture. Other side of the country, looking at the Indian Ocean, this one is looking very yellow, but again, we've got our own source of moisture that is off the coast here. So at the moment, being pushed away from us, but we have our own source. Where that might go is a flip. Let's start with Nino. So in the Pacific here was the La Nina that we were in. We're now very neutral, and it's likely to remain in neutral for the rest of the year, but it is on the drier side of neutral. Again, we've got that moisture source off Queensland to offset any dryness that comes from that. On the Indian Ocean, currently here in a positive Indian Ocean dipole, that's just like the El Nino of the Pacific, but the same thing happening in the Indian Ocean. But watch how that is likely to change, going below the threshold as we go into these winter months and into spring as well. A nice big long stretch under that threshold line there, indicating negative Indian Ocean dipole. That's the La Nina of the Indian Ocean, and that helps enhance the amount of rain we can get from that northwest. Okay, let's have a look at SAM. This is the big culprit, southern annual mode. As long as this is sitting up in through here, that encourages troughs and lows. It encourages that big band of high pressure to sit across that southern part of the country. If the highs can move, then yes, these systems can come through. They can deal with heaps and heaps of rain. But as long as that high is there, we are in the danger zone because we're not seeing the wet weather from these systems as they come through. If you're a snow lover, we're heading into the winter months. We need the strong cold fronts to come in to make that. Now, generally, you need 3 or 4 big systems a season, and that is the thing that builds that base and makes it good. Can we get 3 or 4 of those? Yes, we certainly can. If a strong cold front can come up, have enough cold air, have enough source of that moisture, and enough instability to get that happening. So we're always looking for 3 to 4 of those. If we get more, even better, but they're the thing that saves a season. This doesn't tell us if we're going to get them, but at the moment, that high pressure is in the way and making it difficult to get that snow to come through, just like it's making it difficult to make that rain come into those drought areas of the southeast. So SAM is looking like it's staying quite positive. All right, let's have a look at rain for week 1. So this is next week, beginning on Monday, and yeah, browns all in through here. So yes, we have the system that comes over the weekend. That's not included in this map here, but maybe another one on Wednesday into Thursday, maybe Friday, and then another one next Sunday. This is indicating that high pressure is still going to be dominant and not allow as much rainfall to come with those as we would like. However, the northeastern half, getting very used to seeing this map here where it's very wet there and it's very dry down through here, and that is because of our ridge of high pressure being in the way. So this enables all of that moisture just sitting there waiting off the coast there to move inland and deliver some things there. Now, this is the Australian model, having a look at their outlook. Here is the European model, and it's quite similar. It's got this here on the coast, it's got this in through Queensland, and it's got a big dry area that's running through these parts here. So those two are in consensus for next week. And we saw what's happening. We've got that big rainfall system that is moving on the coast there, moving through these parts of the east. All right, let's move to week 2. And where is my week 2? I got the same thing here? No. Week 2, it's just looking very similar. So this here has all of the brown again. It's got all of the green in through here. So a very similar map from week to week where they can access the moisture and these guys here can't because high pressure is in the way. I'm so sick of saying high pressure is in the way, and I'm sure you're very sick of hearing it too if you are looking for rain and desperate for it. Here is the Euro's take on this. Again, it's still got all of these brown tones here. It's got the green all in through these parts. It's got something potentially brewing in the southwest, so that's a change from the other model. So that's something to watch in terms of week 2, which is the last week of May. Let's look further afield. Here we have June. It is now looking less brown, less dry. And so we're starting to see some of these greens come in terms of the areas that need it most. The southwest, it's looking very 50-50. And in terms of what's happening here in the southeast, it's also looking very 50-50. But at least it's not those strong brown tones we had during May. Let's now have a look at July. That's got a lot more green on it. Is it that Indian Ocean dipole flicking and trying to send that moisture down to us? Is it the high pressure ridge finally moving out of the way and allowing those weather systems to come in? We know we've got our sources of moisture. We just need the instability to enable that to actually turn that into rain. Okay, let's have a look at just one example. I've picked Port Macquarie. You can see here why I've picked Port Macquarie because that's where the huge rainfall totals are going to be. So I thought I'd just sort of walk you through what our forecasting shows for that. I'm going to put the Pro toggle on, and here we are Friday into Saturday. So just navigating through, if you hit that one, it hits you on the middle of that day. So there's just a handy navigation tip. This one here, yes, there's some wet weather coming in, 5, 9, 4 millimeters. So this isn't the huge rainfall totals. Let's head further down. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll jump straight through to Monday. Looking here, the first thing you want to have a look for is this, 80, 80, 80. That is right across this period here. That means all 4 models, all of the guidance, every single bit of it has wet weather in this area. So that gives you higher confidence that that is actually happening. Let's actually have a look at the rainfall range, and that's this one up the top here. 17 to 171. So that's still a huge spread there. One model only likes 17. One of them likes 171 millimeters. You can guess which one it is here. It is the purple one, which is the USA model. So that is having those huge, huge rainfalls. As we move through to Tuesday here, less big falls up to 84, 16 to 84, and heading into the next day there, 3 to 113. So each of the models seems to like big falls at one point. They're just not all on the same day. So the timing is the thing that is a little bit skewed there. But yes, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we'd be expecting a lot of wet weather to be coming through that particular area there. Hope that helps for now. I'll catch you next week.